Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel, Cynicalex, and we got the patch notes for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And yeah, for better and for worse, this is what we're gonna get. So let's just jump right into it. I'll give you my, my opinion on my advice up front, and we'll save the criticisms for when it's necessary. So we're getting Cassie as a brand new character. However, the big negative here is that she's tier 2 only. I do not understand why the devs keep doing this. They did it with M'Baku. It makes no sense. It's stupid. We've had tier 3 now for almost 5 years. In April, it's going to mark 5 years that we've had tier 3. So for them to be releasing tier 2 only characters 5 years after tier 3 is an absolute joke. This is just stupid. As far as Cassie as a character, she does not look very good. That's the other thing. She may be a high damage dealer. That's great, but she does not have the support abilities of M'Baku. She does have a bit of a support with 25% ignore dodge and then 15% increased damage to heroes and villains for all speed types, but she has nothing for specifically Ant-Man and Wasp. Her leadership is not good. She does not have an artifact that buffs her support abilities, so she doesn't seem like a support. She also doesn't seem like she's for PvP, so she seems like a PvE character, which would be really cool if she was available to go to tier 3 or Transcendence, but she's not. So I don't really know where people are going to use Cassie, but she seems like a very luxury, very niche character right now. And then we're getting 3 new uniforms for Ant-Man, Wasp, and MODOK. All 3 of these uniforms do look like substantial upgrades for all of these characters. Ant-Man, as we predicted or suspected or speculated, is for PvE. Despite having guard break immunity and that classic 87% increased guaranteed dodge, they didn't touch any of his legacy abilities, but they increased his one of his passives to 40% physical attack. They changed his tier 3 skill, so it seems like it has a lot more hits now. There's a lot more damage, which is very, very good. He has 15% chain hit, and then he just has a mixture of fracture, stun, all defense down. He's got a heal now, 25% heal, which is very nice. 4 seconds of invincibility, 1.2% accumulation like Makari, which is very strong, and paralysis, and a 100% damage proc. So he should be pretty nutty, which we all wanted to see, in my opinion. Wasp, on the other hand, has been sort of positioned as a support hero. She now gives 20% up from 10% all HP, or HP to all allies. She has this paralyzer skill that gives her chain hit in addition to silence and paralysis. Her leadership has also been bumped up to 30, 20, and 10 respectively for attack, defense, and all speed. And then she just has a mixture of paralysis, shock, damage decrease, super armor, all that kind of stuff. Or sorry, not damage decrease, all defense down, that kind of stuff. She has an accumulation as well. She has a heal. A lot of the stuff gets repetitive, but basically all of the characters that are getting uniforms, including MODOK, yay, have accumulation. They have a heal. They have a frenzy buff, etc., etc., etc. They also have a damage proc. She has an 80% damage proc. Ant-Man's got 100% damage proc. MODOK, not a support. He does have a 45% energy attack leadership, which is nice, but he's basically on his own or for himself. He's got chain hit, damage reduction, immunity to snare, charm, and mind control. Snare is really important because it is what the tornadoes, the twisters apply to you. They apply a snare effect, so you cannot be stopped by the tornadoes, which is very nice. He gives himself ignore dodge and skill damage bonus damage, and then he has paralysis, stun, silence, mind control, burn. He's got quite a few different effects. He's got a heal, he's got invincibility, he's got a frenzy buff, he's got accumulation. He doesn't have a damage proc, but that's basically all he is missing that everybody else gets. He also gets his tier 3 called Killer Instinct. It looks very cool. Lots of lasers, lots of screaming, lots of missiles, lots of explosions. Very, very MODOK. It's like he throws a massive temper tantrum. It looks quite nice, and it also gives him an extra heal, which is interesting. He heals equal to 50% of the damage he deals, up to 30% of his max HP. So that's quite nice there. Ant-Man's tier 4, very boring, very bland. I don't know who's in trouble or who's responsible for the tier 4 skills, but they are really phoning it in. This is literally just increase attack and then increase more attack. This is so boring. He does get all defense, which is cool, and he does get character size increase, which is hilarious because Ant-Man shrinking and growing. But that's it, right? The all attack thing is so boring and so mundane. Yeah, I really need them to stop doing this. It's so boring. I'm still probably going to tier 4 Ant-Man because I love him, but they really need to get more creative with this. Even if it's like increased final damage by 30% or whatever, like you gotta bring in some different effects. It doesn't really matter at the end of the day. All of these things are just increasing your damage. So I understand how some people don't see it, but when you just see the same text and the same base effect, it's so boring and it's so mundane. You know, for a kid, you know, again, we got like 200 more of these tier 4s to go, guys, in the long run, right? We don't want to see this shit too many more times. So yeah, very disappointed that they basically just copied and pasted Shadow Shell's skill effect, and that's not even the, like, Moon Knight's basically the same shit. Like, there's already a bunch of characters that just buff their own attack. It's very, very boring. So yeah, hopefully it looks cool with the shrinking and growing. Otherwise, yeah. And then Wasp and Giant Man are getting a Transcendence. This is where, I mean, this is good for these two characters, but this is where they could have easily added Cassie and they didn't, which is really stupid. Now, Giant Man's not getting a new uniform, so he's just a Transcended character that can be available for story mode without getting an upgrade. However, their Transcendent skill does look really cool. He grows bigger and starts, like, jackhammering the ground with his fists. And then Wasp is like, yo, bioelectricity, and she just shocks the shit out of everybody. That looks really cool. But yeah, I'm not too happy that Cassie's left out. And then we have the new legendary battle, a piece of content that in the dev's mind is really cool and the players love, and in the player's mind has become a tired and dragged on formula that the devs refuse to update. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't want to poo-poo the legendary battles too much because they are MCU events, but they're very, very phoned in these days. Very phoned in. The devs really are not trying to do anything new here, which is really dumb. And this really is where they should be doing new things, where they should be maybe buffing the rewards, changing the rewards, making this piece of content something that you actually want to do every day, rather than something that you do once and then completely forget about forever. Because it's really dumb, in my opinion, how much effort they put into these, right? They make cutscenes, they make dialogue, they make all these animations, etc. And then again, players play it once and never again. And it's really stupid. They haven't even been including new artifacts, right? New like artifact sets that you can farm for in these missions. So they don't even have that. It's really a shame how badly they have fumbled the legendary battles. The legendary battles, like, they're called legendary. They should be legendary battles. They should be these epic events that you want to dive into every day, and it would be so cool if the rewards reflected that and if the difficulty reflected that, because you're like, oh man, who am I going to fight today? Am I going to go, you know, and fight Wen Wu for the 10 rings? Oh man, are we going to go fight Gore in New Asgard? Are we going to go way back in the time machine to Infinity War to fight Thanos? Like, these are really cool events, and they're just fumbled by these devs and their complete lack of imagination. So yeah, what do you get for the Ant-Man and the Wasp legendary battle? That's my rant there. You can, if you purchase the extreme mode, you can get a CTP of Insight, which honestly I kind of need, so I might purchase. You also get a 4-star artifact for Wasp, which is not very good, but we'll talk about that in a second. And then you get some other stuff. You get a second potential realization ticket. You have the possibility of buying, you don't have to buy the legendary battle, but you get the chance of buying Cassie Lang at 6 stars for 2,500 crystals. Why would you do this? Because she's a tier 2 only. And then we have these 3 quests. As you guys have seen from a lot of the promotional material, Kang is here despite not being in the game. So the Kang situation is exactly the same as the Gore situation. We're assuming that in the next month or two, we're going to be getting his World Boss Legend or GBR, and then that's how you'll be able to unlock him later on. You've got Stinging Debut, Mental Madness, and the Conqueror. Keep in mind that these legendary battles are based on the trailers, not the movie. They do not have access to the movie ahead of time. They do not make these as spoiler missions for the movie. So if you're worried about playing it because you'll be spoiled for the movie, don't worry about that. As far as the rest of the rewards from the legendary battle, again, they're pretty straightforward. They're pretty good, but I think some people are going to be disappointed that the Insight CTP is not like a Rage CTP. Probably what most people wanted. You get the MODOK icon, you get the second potential realization ticket, the 4-star artifact. For me, I'm not so much worried or concerned about the rewards here, because for 2,000 crystals, these rewards are pretty good, right? Because you get a 500 crystal discount. So all of this for 2,000 crystals, in my opinion, is very competitive. The issue I have with legendary battles is that there's no reason to repeatedly play it. So I think what the devs need to do, and they could absolutely do it with this update, I didn't even buy this, you know, they should increase the rewards that you get from the daily, right? From the daily, like these daily ones. They should increase those rewards and make them different so that you go in and want to play these game modes, right? And you want to play these different legendary battles. Make it different. Maybe like a different Odin's Blessing drops from each one. I don't know. but not every day, but like there's a chance for an Odin's Blessings to drop from each one of these. They gotta put something more interesting in here to make players want to replay this stuff, and also to encourage people to buy the legendary battles. Because at this point, you see this, if you don't want the CTP of destruction, this immediately loses like 75% of its value. Like the CTP really determines at least 75% of this item's value, and without it, it's bupkis, you know. So they really have to, in my opinion, rework the legendary battles to be more appealing daily. And then we're getting changes to the guided quests. This is a really good thing for newer players and for players who don't have a full roster. So if you don't have a completed full roster and you still have characters that you can build up, the guided quests are basically being improved on, shortened, and then increased. So before, the number of times you could do the tier 3 guided quest was just once. Now you're going to be able to do it twice. Even if you've already completed it once, or even if you're like halfway through completing it the first time, don't worry, it's not going to be reset, but you'll be able to complete it a second time after you're done the first time, which is very, very nice. And again, instead of clearing the tier 2 guided quest 10 times, you're only going to have to clear it 3 times to go to the tier 3 guided quest. Now, some people might be like, oh, I wanted more tier 2s, but honestly, the more tier 3s is the better thing in my opinion. Also, the same abilities or like chances or whatever are going to apply to these guided quests. So you're still going to have a chance to buy the newest uniform for the character at a 50% discount. So this is a really nice way to get 2 uniforms at a 50% discount. Plus, you consider that brand new players get a one-time like 60% discount off of any uniform. So you could roll that up, right, and buy 3 uniforms at a discount of at least 50%. So you could basically get 3 uniforms for just over 2,000 crystals. It's a really good idea, especially if you plan it ahead and you don't have overlap. It's a very, very good way to get some cheap, powerful new uniforms. So yeah, they're also shortening the number of missions in the tier 2 and tier 3 guided quests, so you'll be able to go through them faster, but they made it a little bit more difficult to unlock guided quest through the normal story mode. And then we have the artifacts. So like the new guided quests and the increased guided quests. This is very, very good. They need to, honestly, they should go even further. They should let you do 5 tier 3 guided quests, because the guided quests are a really good way for new players to catch up in the game. So they need to create way more of these. Honestly, they should have 10 tier 3 guided quests. Like that would be fine, right? Because you can't progress through them simultaneously. You have to do them one at a time. So it's going to take you a long time. Like it's going to take you at least a week to do 1 guided quest. So even if you give players 10 guided quests, you're giving them, 2.5 months of being able to play the game, knowing that they're going to be unlocking a tier 3 every week. That's really, really good. And it's a really good incentive for players to start playing and to keep playing, right? Without hitting a roadblock, without losing their progress or slowing down their progress to the point where they feel like they're not making progress. So I think the guided quest is great, and I honestly think they should go even further with it. The new artifacts, in my opinion, very uninspired. There are no support artifacts. There are no interesting new effects from artifacts. Wasp gets all attack. Ant-Man gets increased damage from boss types and increased damage to boss types, again, further solidifying his role as a PvE hero. The other Wasp, oh no, sorry, that was Cassie. Sorry, Cassie, their daughter, Lang's daughter, gets all attack. Wasp, that we know, gets increased damage to villains and increased damage to heroes. MODOK gets increased damage to alien and creature characters, which is very good for World Boss Legend, I think, because it works on Ultron, it works on Null, it works on Gore. That's quite nice. And then Giant Man, who's not getting a uniform, gets decreased damage from heroes and villains, which is basically irrelevant because he's not going to be used for PvP content. We have the new Future Pass here. No spoilers or clues or hints at new characters. Obviously, we see Kang there. Ant-Man, the one that reshrinks, the one that I love the most, is going to be available through the token event. Now, again, all this Kang signage is indicative that he's going to be added to the game in the future. In the future. Get it? Because he time travels. But yeah, we just have to wait for that. Again, like I said, I'm not going to rant about it like I did for Gore. We basically know it at this point. It is what it is. I'd rather they focus on making the updates better with what they can do than raging against them for not adding the content that I want right now. We have to accept that the game is getting older, and that maybe the available team to work on the game is smaller, so they're just doing the best that they can. I think they can do better with what they have. That's a different thing. Right, wanting them to do better with the resources they have is different than asking them to just do more. Right, I think they can do better with what they have right now. And then we have the uniform collection for Ant-Man, Wasp, and MODOK. And then we have a bunch of new improvements. This is actually where the patch notes take the most interesting turn. I don't know why they called this an other improvement. Like, this is really badly marketed. This should have been a major header in the patch notes above a bunch of other stuff. They're basically introducing a new item called a uniform ticket. And the uniform ticket is going to allow you to purchase a uniform for its cost, like for the cost of one ticket, rather than spending the crystals. And, you know, like, it doesn't apply to all uniforms. It's kind of tricky, right? So it doesn't apply to uniforms that don't have a regular price of $17.50. So it's not going to apply to paywall uniforms. It's not going to apply to uniforms for native tier 2 characters like Thanos and Jean Grey. It's not going to apply to uniforms that are seasonal, like Halloween uniforms, holiday uniforms, etc. And it's not going to apply to uniforms that are updated through the latest update. So even if you get one of these tickets tomorrow when the update lands, you won't be able to use it on Ant-Man, Wasp, or MODOK. You'll only be able to use it on stuff that's one update old. And then obviously when the next update comes out, Ant-Man and the new characters that got uniforms, they'll be added to those tickets, right? So it's sort of like a delayed effect. And then you don't get to use the ticket on uniforms that are discounted by the guided quest, which is really good because you don't want to use it on those uniforms because those uniforms are discounted. Now, here's the spiciest part. Here's the best part. Uniform tickets can be acquired in-game as event rewards or through store purchases. Now, we knew they were gonna sell it for real money, and it basically doesn't make sense to sell it for real money unless you're packaging it in a really attractive deal, because people just buy the crystals, right? If you're gonna buy the ticket, just buy the damn crystals. However, being acquired in-game or as event rewards means that you can get these for free. So there may be a way to get free uniforms from time to time. And if you can save up these tickets, if they don't have an expiry, that's even better. That's so good. So you could save up, let's say 2 or 3 tickets, and then wait for a big update for an MCU movie that you want, and then wait one more update, and then boom, 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 buy all those uniforms. Really, really good stuff. Or vice versa, right? If you know there's an update coming up that you're going to want to splurge on, you save your crystals for that update so you can buy them right away, and you use your uniform tickets on the other uniforms that you're buying to try to catch up in this game mode or that game mode. So this is a really, really good update. People are speculating where you're going to be able to get these tickets. I don't want to make too much of a fuss about where we're going to get them because we don't know, and also because people get unrealistic expectations and they imagine I'll be able to farm a ticket every week. Like, I don't think it's going to be that frequent. We might only get a few of these per year, but still, that's equal to a few thousand extra crystals per year, right? Because most of your crystals go towards purchasing uniforms, and especially for players who are trying to catch up on some legendary battles and epic quests or crystal wall characters, this represents an even bigger value for them because those crystals now can be more quickly allotted to those characters and those game mode unlocks, because these will supplement the crystals for uniforms. So that's really, really good. Like, this is honestly probably the highlight of the update. Really, really good stuff. Hopefully they won't be too scarce. And then we're getting extra XP from XP chips, only level 5 XP chips, by the way, though, but they're like multiplying it by 3. I think these used to give 30,000 XP, and now they're giving 90,000 XP, which is insane. So again, this is just a way for new players to fast track to getting characters to level 60 faster. This is excellent. No problems here with this. You'll be able to see your rift stones when you're opening an advanced to mythic rift. This is just a small QOL change. They changed the unlock point for dimension rifts, which is fine. They're going to add in a newly changed agent training. They don't offer too much information on what this new agent training is, but hopefully it's more intuitive, better rewards, etc. They changed the unlock point for the Shield Academy missions, which is fine. They just made it easier. And then they also, this is the other change that I think a lot of people are going to notice, the skill effect. So the animation, not the skill effect, it's pretty poorly worded. The animation for Jean Grey and Namor in GBR will not show up anymore. So it's not that you're losing the damage or you're losing the effects of the skill, but when you pop Jean Grey's tier 3 or when you pop Namor's 5th or his tier 3, it covers the whole screen and it covers the ground and players can't see what's going on. They're changing that. So that's being changed. That's not going to display anymore visually. You'll still get the damage and the whatever, but you'll be able to see what's going on the screen, which is very, very good. And the other big change here that, I think they should highlight this way more because it's very important to a lot of players. Newer players will not be matched against teams with high growth scores in bronze and silver leagues. This is a change that I've been begging for a long time. New players, when they queue in to PvP for the first time, or returning players after a long break, they're met with these colossal Giga Chad teams with Jean Grey and Gore and Thanos and Hulk and Spider-Man, completely stacked tier 4, tier 3 gods, you know, brilliant CTPs, and you're just like, what's going on? And you just get absolutely obliterated. Like, you don't even have a shred of a chance. There's no way you can win. But yeah, hopefully now that's not going to happen. I mean, that's the whole point of not having a high growth status, is that your build is incomplete, right? That's what having a low growth status means. And hopefully it'll make it easier for players to sort of climb out of the bronze and silver leagues. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how that kind of works. And then there's a bunch of game error fixes. Nothing really worth talking too much about. So yeah, I think it's a decent update. I'm excited for some of the changes, but I definitely think that this game needs, you know, the game needs something new. And whoever's piloting the game right now, like whoever's the producer, I don't know what you would call it, the manager, they need, you know, they need to like shoot some new blood. I don't really know how to describe it, but they just need to, like, you know, invite. I don't know what that means, but it sounds like the word I'm looking for. They need like new blood in their thinking. This is a very tired, old, stale way of doing the updates. This is very like 2017, where you're just cranking out the same shit month after month. And yeah, players are just not, like, you can't hold people's attention like this anymore. The TikTok era has melted people's brains. They don't have they barely have the attention span to watch my videos. They're not going to have the attention span to sit through these updates that are drip fed to us. You need to bring something new and exciting. You need to buff rewards and tons of game modes. You need to get people's, you know, you need to get their blood pumping. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. But I'll be live tonight regardless. My blood will be pumping at 2 a.m. here on YouTube to live stream this brand new update. So hit me up in the comments down below. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. Smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.